Go ahead.
Your first impression upon seeing Trey Lance back, how does he look? What did he do that time away to change or improve?
He's been great. Along with almost everyone else. You can tell he got healthy while he was gone and has come back and he's gotten in 4 good weeks of work.
In what way? What was he?
Getting back to feeling right.
Are there things you've noticeable improvement and things that are obvious that he needs to work on?
Yeah, he came back doing as good as he did last year. And we've had 2 practices, and I think he's done some good things in those 2 practices.
Is throwing motion at all different?
No, I don't think so.
He's a little bit more 3/4. That I mean, I don't recall that.
Then win. 3 more 3/4 than win.
I remember. Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly.
Yeah, arm angles change here and there, but no, I seem about the same.
Do you have a list of injuries?
Nope.
This time of the year.
No, I answer questions. Yeah. I know that's your favorite thing to talk about injuries in what is it? May? And I got a whole list right here just in case you ask. But I don't have to really talk about all of them. But you only get one question, which one is it?
Who is Demetrius playing to get fouls? Aziz Al-Shire, are they injured?
Yeah, Aziz had shoulder surgery at the end of the year and knee surgery. He'll be preparing for training camp. And Demetrius just has some knee tendonitis, so we'll see how that goes throughout OTAs. I talked to him here and there. I got a good idea. I mean, I've been in touch with him throughout the off season, through his wedding, through his honeymoon. He's in some other country right now, but I got a pretty good idea what he's doing. Same as last time. I'm going to leave that up to Alex, but I got a pretty good idea. I think you guys do too. Yeah, Juice got here for OTA 1, so he's been here today. He had a personal thing with his family, so he had to leave today, but he was here yesterday. Trent, I expect to be here towards the end. We'll see. I know he'll at least be here from what he says when it's mandatory, and same with Bosa, and I'm expecting Debo also. I remember from last time, I'm going to stop telling you guys when I talk to guys and not talk to guys because I don't want to make that news and have to keep up with that, but I talk to all our players.
Back normal.
Yeah, of course I do. And I felt that last time I talked to you guys at draft time, and I feel the same, if not stronger. Yeah, same thing I said last time. Nothing's changed. I mean, it's conversations we have with Debo, and maybe some more of that will come out eventually, but now's not the time.
Oh, intent on having these time lag off season. Do you see similar things with Brandon? Wait, the off season performing out.
Yeah, I think each year guys have, you learn stuff from it, and you learn how hard this league is, and guys usually go 1 or 2 ways each year. They realize, man, I got to put more work in and prepare for that long haul, or, man, that was exhausting, and I'm going to avoid that as long as I can until I have to come back again. And usually the ones who get better and better are the ones who figure out what they got to do during the season, in the off season, preparing for that. And I think Brandon's done that each year. Debo's been awesome with that stuff each year, and that's why usually veterans understand how to make it in this league a little bit better.
When it comes to the quarterback situation, I know you addressed it at the owners' meetings, but is there a chance that it's fluid at all, or things still, are you still viewing it as Trey's trending towards being ready, and things haven't necessarily changed on the drop?
Yeah, nothing's changed since his surgery. We were where we were at before that, and then he got the surgery, so everything went on hold. I expect him at some time, most likely to be traded, but who knows? That's not a guarantee, and it's been exactly on hold when that happened, and when he's healthy, we'll see what happens.
Run skill.
Run skill, same thing as Flan, some knee tendonitis. We're holding him out. Maybe towards the end of OTAs, we'll see how this goes, but he'll be fine by training camp. Just because we're not trying to go team quite yet, and we're trying to slow it down to the O-line and D-line, and we were trying that out these 2 days. We'll try it out again on Friday, and then we'll reassess next week.
Wide receivers. How would you sort of compare the personalities and the styles? Going from last center.
I mean, they're both their own person. It was awesome they were in the room together last year, so they got to, Hank got to watch how Wes did it, so he knows exactly what that room's expecting. I got to coach Hank for, I think, 5 years as a player, so he has a lot of experience doing that stuff, and, their personalities, I think, are somewhat similar. You can ask Hank when you talk to him what the difference is, but they're both their own man, and I think the players respect him a bunch.
Reese and Kubiak work together, and what have been your first impressions of that sort of dynamic?
Yeah, they've been great. We had him here about, 4 or 5 weeks before the players got here, so we got to go through a whole process of, what we do. We got to study college guys together, so you got to go through all this stuff and really learn what each other are about. And they've been working with the quarterbacks the last month, which they do an awesome job at. They really dive into the detail of every little aspect of it. I think they've been great getting along with all 3 of our quarterbacks, and they've been good on the field here these last 2 days. Rookie mini camp was good, but finally getting out there with with our guys today and yesterday is really when it starts going, because you get a coach out there, then you get to come in and watch film, you get to review the film as coaches, so you all get on the same page, and then usually the next day they review it with the players.
Do you see a big difference between what Trey Lance looked like now on the practice field compared to a year ago at this time?
No, it was the second day of OTAs, so I don't really look at anyone that way. This is just the start of guys going out, getting a little bit of football in, and we got 9 of these, and then we get away, and then we start training camp, which is the real deal.
It might be too early to tell, but Tarvarius Moore, can you kind of gauge if he's back to full speed after that injury?
I mean, he's back to full speed and health, so he's out there going and stuff. I mean, again, it's been 2 days, so today was the first day we did a 2-shell defense, so it's been good that he's healthy enough to get out there, start working back in to get in football shape, and give himself a chance to compete for a job here when training camp comes.
Warner and Kittle, I want to make sure the spectators being arrested.
I mean, both of them have some similar issues, so we're being smart with them. They could go, but there's not much need for them to go right now. We'll see if they go towards the end of OTAs, but there's a good chance we'll hold them out till training camp. Lower half. Yeah. Not enough for me to really look into that hard. It's not that interesting to me. They'll be all right. What's that?
Ambry Thomas.
Ambry was sick today. He was here yesterday, but we sent him home this morning. Came in with some symptoms.
Looked like Justin School was wearing any brace. Is he all the way back?
Yeah, he's cleared to go and healthy. I mean, when guys are all the way back, it means they're healed. But it takes a while to get all the way back playing football, and that's why he's fortunate to have OTAs and stuff to kind of hopefully build a base before you go to training camp and it's real football.
Do you think Kinlaw will let you be ready by camp?
Yeah, I do. Those guys have been great. We didn't expect to have them until training camp, but just looking at them out there and how they're moving, we consider them ahead of schedule, and it's been very positive on both of those guys. No. I mean, bet you they could if they wanted to, but it's not worth it. Yeah, yes.
Does that impact his role at all?
No, I don't think so. The lightest Kinlaw had been was the end of his rookie year when he got hurt at the Dallas game, and he was playing at the top of his level then, and he's a pretty strong, massive guy, so the way he's been working, the way he's been eating, he's going to be the right size, whatever that weight is, because he's in pretty good shape.
Want to see from Aaron Banks over these 9 practices?
Hopefully he can stay healthy through this and get work in 9 days. It's with us not going against each other as much right now. It's so important on the drills they set up to go against each other because we're trying to simulate football the best we can. Hopefully we'll be able to do that a little bit more as we get going. But just to be able to have no setbacks, go through it healthy, and really when he leaves here, be in a great position to come back in 40 days and really try to get a starting job.
Your eyes more naturally track the wide receivers rather than like whatever new cornerbacks you're trying out right now when you're in person and then studying more on film?
On person, because I know where the ball's going when I watch the receivers. I can see the coverage. I know where the ball's supposed to go, so you know where to watch. And when I'm on film, I mean, so I go through it a bunch of times because I try to find the time to watch all the guys out there.
I think of how Shavarius came along.
I think he's been great. Just having him here for the month of phase 1 and phase 2, just having him here with the guys, going in the drills where we haven't been doing a ton of football against each other, but just all footwork drills and stuff like that. He's as talented of a dude as we've had here. He's been a great guy, loves to work, doesn't say a lot, just goes out and gets his job done, and seems like he fits in very well.
Brett likely just maybe come back in camp.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. We were pumped to get Jason back, and we know it's been a hard recovery for him, like he's gone through a number of times, but I know when he got back here and everyone saw him, everyone's pumped to have that guy back, and we're all pulling that he can get healthy for training camp.
The run game, how does that change your process at all?
Not much. I mean, him and Chris would work together most of the time, and me and Bobby worked together most of the time in the pass game, and then we'd always meet in the middle and change stuff up as a group, and just have one less guy there. So there's certain parts. I mean, I'll always miss with Mike. I mean, Mike been around me for a long time. Lots of stuff he could do for me, which was awesome. Kind of sucks not having him now because sometimes I got to do it, and not always do I want to. And you ask someone else to do it, and they do a great job, but then you realize, oh, he wasn't here 7 years ago when we learned not to do it because of that, or 12 years ago when we did it. So that there's a process with that stuff, but that's what's good for the off season. That's what's good for OTAs. So you can ask guys to do stuff. You expect it a certain way. And then you come in and you learn what that guy doesn't know, and he learns what you want. And hopefully you get that stuff right for the season, so it's smooth throughout the year.
How do you come up with a play? I mean, there's not to compare you to a songwriter, but there's some guys that sit at a bar, write stuff out on a napkin. How does an origin of a play start with?
What I see on the defense. I mean, there's not these secret plays that we carry this. I always say that notebook around and what is it? Water boy. That someone's going to steal someday, and then we're screwed. We all run the same plays. It's how you tie them together, how you design them, how you put certain guys in certain positions, how they have answers versus not the perfect look, but all the looks. And that's really what it comes down to: timing and preparation, and understanding what works against defenses, and understanding what works against defenses and what your players can do versus those defenses.
How much of your time up to this point has been just doing that, looking at teams maybe you didn't play last year but will be playing this year, or just looking around the league at defensive trends and what works and what doesn't, and where you think the next evolution will be? I
mean, that's what I do more when I'm bored and just have my own time. I like to just turn on teams and watch stuff, whatever it is. But usually this times, I mean, if there's a month dedicated to getting ready for the draft. When it's not that, it's usually coaching coaches. Whether you have a new staff or not, it's, watching film with them, saying it how you want, hearing how they see it, telling them how you see it, just trying to get everyone's on the same page. And everyone wants to be on the same page, but there's also things that you want done that they haven't done. So you try to train them in that area, and then it gets better through the experience of it. And then you try to hear aspects from them that they've done it differently that you don't know, which sometimes will have me change something up. But at this time of year, before the players come in, we're mainly coaching coaches.
When you brought Denard in, because it was late last year, I'm sure it was like you needed somebody and he was available. Has he shown you more than you expected, either from last year this offseason? Yeah,
he showed me more last year than I expected. Anytime you bring someone in that late, there's not a ton of choices that time, and to have someone like him who has had the career he's had and done some things like he has, I knew the name, but for him to come in and throw him at that nickel position, which was a little new to him, we could just tell. We had a number of guys get sick, when it was K1 with COVID, our whole secondary with COVID for the Rams game. I'm just watching him take those reps all week. We were ready to go with him if those guys didn't come back. I think it ended up being Dante who came back the day before. But we were excited last year, and to have him here throughout the whole offseason, not just the end of last year, being able to work with him in phase 1 and phase 2 and the 2 practices today, he shows he's got a chance.
What are your initial impressions of Ross Dwelly? Saw him make good catches with Trey Lance.
Ross is Ross. He's going to catch everything. He's got as good a hands on our team. He's always in shape. He's always improving to get better. He usually puts on some size at this time, going to Kittle land where they just lift weights and get bigger, I guess. And then they come back here and we get him running and get him more into football. And Ross is always ready to go.
Well, coaches talk a lot about creating schemes that fit their players' skill sets, obviously. And I'm curious what your process is like with Trey, given there's been such a limited sample size, and how you sort of go about creating an offense for a guy that hasn't played.
Yeah, there's certain principles to what do you think a quarterback has to do, and for everybody. I mean, you'd love them to be able to do the drop back game, the play action game. You'd love them to move them out on bootlegs. You'd love to have big throws, short throws, screens, everything. And there's a time in every game that you usually need one of those. So you try them in everything. And almost every quarterback at this level is capable of doing everything. But you find how consistent they are. And there's going to be certain areas that are his strengths and certain areas that are weaknesses, just like every other quarterback I've coached. And you put them through all that. And you don't try to hide it. You try to understand it. There's usually nothing that you can't do, but you find out what's hard on a person. So you do that if you absolutely have to. And you always try to find avenues to where you put them in an advantageous situation where they're confident because they know this is automatic. They can do that. And eventually people take that away, and you got to go to the next thing. And you got to get good at that so you can bring the other thing back. And I think that's kind of the story at every position. All right, guys. Thanks.